So this is going to be a tough conversation to have, but it's an important conversation to have. But we are currently on a potential path to losing our rights to keep reptiles. And let me go a little bit more in depth on what I'm talking about. My name is Nick Pulaski. Growing up, I have always had a passion for wildlife, and with that passion, along with my passion of filmmaking, I get taken on some amazing adventures creating wildlife content, getting up close with a variety of incredible animals. So come follow along as I pursue my goals of educating, inspiring, exploring, and conserving wildlife, all while having fun, seeing the beauty in our natural world. Hello, and thank you so much for joining me here today. This video, the title, the thumbnail, the opening line, none of the things were clickbait. We are on the verge of a potential crisis within our hobby, and I'm talking about the reptile hobby and animal enthusiasts in general. This applies to basically everyone, and I think the running theme for this video is you matter, and your voice matters, and every single individual, all of us throughout the hobby, any animal keeper whatsoever, I would say, this matters to you. There's been a lot of legislation popping up, and it doesn't matter what state necessarily it is, whether it's Florida, New York, South Carolina, Oregon, Alabama. Doesn't matter what state it is. I mean, it's popping up wherever, Pennsylvania, anywhere. There is a whole bunch of legislation popping up, and it's not only hurting the people that's in those states, but it can trickle out to the whole nation. And it's kind of scary. It's pretty scary, honestly, because this is what we do. This is what we keep. And having our rights taken away with the snap of our fingers, that's pretty darn scary, honestly. Being told that you're not able to own a tegu that you've owned for years, a Burmese python, a retic, anything like that. Being told that those rights are being taken away. I mean, we've seen this in the past with Lacey Act. That has been a huge ordeal that thankfully in the past we have gotten to overcome, and it's all thanks to people like you that do something about it and actually act upon it and join forces with organizations such as USARK, which is the United States Association of Reptile Keeping. Donate anything to them. I mean, buy merchandise. You can donate to them. You can join their membership program. Anything of those things, $5, dollar, anything. You are helping the fight against different organizations that are trying to take away our rights. And it's really, truly scary that they're trying to take away our rights. I mean, they're trying to strip us away of our animals. They're trying to strip us away of our continuation to breed these animals. And some of these species, mind you, are higher in population in captivity versus their populations in the wild. So let that also sink into what the private sector is doing there. It's quite scary, honestly. And a lot of this too, I think, goes more so beyond the keeping side of things, but also we don't press enough on the educational side of things too, where these animals, not only are they amazing things to keep, but they are amazing tools to get people hands-on, visually, physically, however, with these animals, giving them an amazing experience with these animals and truly showing that these animals are not something to fear. They're not something to worry about. They're not something to kill when you see it on sight. They are something to appreciate, and that animal experience is something that people can walk away from, go sit down at the dinner table later that night and talk to people in their immediate family saying, oh man, I just held like a Woma python or a ball python or a Burmese python, tegu, what have you, a tortoise, and seeing the light up expression on their faces of the experience that they had and sharing some of the knowledge that they gained from that experience and knowing for the future and kind of emitting that spark inside them saying, you know what, reptiles really aren't that bad. Reptiles are something that actually is something really cool, and kind of diving into that interlocking passion of animals in general, I think is something truly into our cores as reptile keepers that we all want to do and we all want to achieve. And I just think that the educational side of things doesn't get pressed on enough. And that's something that legislation is trying to pass against educational programming and traveling educational shows and stuff like that, where even me growing up as a young kid, having people come to my schools, parks, anything like that, any events in the community, that is something that really touches a lot of people of all ages. And if you lose that, you're losing a huge portion of anyone getting any experience whatsoever with these animals in a positive way. And that's huge. That's absolutely huge. And that is something I just don't want to see happen whatsoever. So again, supporting USARK, I'm going to leave links down below for you guys. You have to go there. They are going to be a whole bunch more knowledge than what this video is going to touch base on. This video can go on for hours, honestly, going on to the different legislation that's trying to pass. And I think above all, my message in this video, I mean, you can look at other people's videos. I know Kevin McCurley from Nerd, I know he's trying to push out a lot of videos, pumping out information about the different legislation, kind of getting into the nitty-gritty of it. But let's take New York, for example, kind of for this video. New York is trying to pass legislation that you cannot transport and ship in, ship out, or ship through reptiles, birds, fish, dogs, cats even. You cannot have those shipped across, through, into state. And that's kind of scary. It's legislation that's being brought up due to fictitious science about disease spreading because of these reptiles coming into the states and being shipped throughout the states. And that's what's spreading things like, for example, like COVID and everything like that. When that is huge topics, they're trying to make that a pressing point for their legislation to pass to ban these animals and ban these different acts for us that go against us, because they're believing that they are going to fearmonger us and they're going to put these different things out to spread fear to people that really aren't well versed in these kind of things, and pressing on them like, oh, reptiles do this, reptiles do that, and bringing up a whole bunch of negativity that isn't even true. It's quite scary, you know? I mean, South Carolina, there's tegu bans beginning. There's a whole thing going on. I mean, the reoccurring thing is with invasives, especially with Florida and everything, and it's just a really tough thing to fight. But it's something that we have overcome in the past, and we haven't given up on, and you can't. We have an amazing system that fights these legislations that is within USARK. USARK has been amazing to go against these different things and bring up the truth and bring up the science and the facts. And there's been a whole bunch of big keepers that have been advocating for these things as well too, and fighting against this as well. It's not even necessarily for our personal gains, you know, it's for the betterment of the community of the reptile hobby. And I can speak personally for myself when I say that I haven't even taken 1 cent for the past years, probably about the past 3 years, from anything reptile related. I haven't gained a single cent personally for breeding reptiles. I haven't bred reptiles in the past 3 years, and this is the first year getting back into it. And that was just something that I just kind of shelved for a while, and I knew that I would rather still keep these animals because I love them personally. And I knew that my collection of reptiles was not only something that I enjoy maintaining, but it's something that I also enjoy sharing. So my YouTube stuff too, I haven't gained a cent of profit from that as well too. Since beginning this channel, it has not been something that has been profitable for me this far. And it's just something that I enjoy doing. It's something that I enjoy sharing with you guys week after week. I love bringing my reptiles out to just show you guys and educate you guys and inspire you guys, because that's what it's about. Going back to everything, it's about the education. It's about educating everyone. It's about showing these people that reptiles in general are not something to fear. They are not something that we need to worry about, especially for invasive things too. There's a whole bunch of other things that we can pinpoint that are way more invasive than like the berms or the iguanas in the Everglades and all across Florida too. It's something that we definitely need to nip in the bud early, and that's what USARK is all about and what they're trying to do. So definitely consider making a donation through them. Like I said, buying merchandise, like they have some really cool, amazing t-shirts too, and designs and merch and what have you, and memberships. Everything is great. I know that when you're shipping out your reptiles as well too, I know you can donate at least $1, and that's definitely something I would consider checking off as well too. It's definitely something that every bit counts, and it truly does. I know people say that a lot in terms of donating for things, and every bit counts and every voice counts. Like I said at the beginning, your voice matters. No matter what people say, your voice does matter. Doesn't matter if you're 10 years old, doesn't matter if you're 85 years old, you know? I mean, at the end of the day, we enjoy doing what we're doing because We love these animals. We love taking care of these animals. We love inspiring the upcoming generations to want to get into fields involving these animals and involving work being done to preserve these animals. That is not going to be solved with this legislation whatsoever. That is going to be backward progress, not forward progress. And I am full-heartedly against that as someone that is fighting for not only the reptile hobby, but as someone that is passionate about all animals and conservation efforts and everything, all things alike. They all intertwine, but it starts with these kind of things. And I think another thing too that kind of goes embedded with all of this is what we do within our hobby. We can be amazing and positive at times, and we can be dead ugly, outright ugly. And it is not something that we need to be doing. We don't need to be pointing blame. We don't need to be bringing people down constantly. We don't need any of that. It's nothing good. It's just a form of bullying, and it's just a form of deteriorating what we have grown and knocking us down from the base. And if you make the wall fall, you're letting a whole bunch of legislation in, all wholeheartedly, and they will just plow right over us. And what you have and what you keep, that will all just be a I remember when back in the day kind of thing, and you won't have anything to do about it. It's quite scary that those things can happen, but that's what this is all about, is standing hand in hand, fighting for one another. Doesn't matter if this is something that pertains to another state. Doesn't matter if this pertains to another animal that you do not keep. It matters to us all. And it could have been something where I was like, before I had Eddie the Burmese python, I could have been like, oh, well, it doesn't bother me because I don't keep retics, I don't keep burms, I don't keep rock pythons, anacondas, any of them. It doesn't matter to me. But that's not the ideal way of thinking. Because if that section falls, if the venomous section falls, if tortoise, ball python, boa, any of that falls, that's just allowing more legislation to pass. And it trickles down from state to state, species to species, and it's quite scary. So we need to nip this in the butt while we can and really make our voices heard. I know there's a whole bunch of different acts with like change. There's also with USARC, they also have ways to reach out to your representatives regarding these things, and other representatives too from other states. Doesn't matter if you're within the states too. You can be in Europe, you can be anywhere in the world, and you can still reach out to these people because it still affects every single one of us. YouTube has been a blessing for a lot of people because even if people are keeping these within the states, people are reaching out and watching our videos from across the world. I mean, I'm making videos about the red-tailed green rat snake, and I have literally someone commenting about the red-tailed green rat snake that they're seeing in Southeast Asia in their backyard, and they're wondering, is this snake venomous? I've honest to God had that before, and it's something really cool because you're doing a positive for that animal in its natural habitat, while those people are worried like, oh my gosh, what do I do? Do I kill this thing? No. You wouldn't kill it if it was venomous anyway, and I said that wholeheartedly to that person, and I think they reached out to me too saying, thank you so much for doing this, you've been a lifesaver, I'm so happy that I've not only learned what this species is and learned that it's not a threat to me, but also getting a better appreciation, and that's just what I like to do. Willow, my Woma python, I literally had someone come over probably last week, and they were someone terrified of snakes, and there was a whole bunch of us in here, and they were like, you know what, I don't know, I don't think I'll ever be able to touch that thing. And after teaching them a little bit about the species, telling them about their origins, their behavior, what Willow is like, you guys know Willow's a sweetheart, and they were like, you know what, I think I'm ready to make that jump, and they actually held Willow. And seeing them the other day, not gonna lie, seeing them the other day, and they said, how's Willow? I want to see Willow. You know what? I wish before I left I took Willow from you because I would have ran with Willow because I love Willow. And that's someone that literally didn't have a hands-on experience prior with a snake. And having that experience just brought joy to me. That's what I thrive on, is hearing your feedback, hearing your experiences with these animals. That's what I enjoy. And that's a powerful thing for me. And that's something that we could potentially lose as keepers as a whole. I know you guys have similar experiences like that, and we could share those all day long, and I would love to, and I can't wait to, once we can get out of these times and really get back to sitting down with one another and having conversations in person. I think it would be a real tragedy if we lost our rights to keep, to ship, to educate with these animals. I think it would be a real shame to lose those kind of things for not only us as keepers, but for upcoming generations and generations to come too, missing out on those opportunities, and for the animals themselves, their wild populations as well too. The ones that are deteriorating, the ones that are losing and decreasing in the wild, we're all missing out here, and we're not focusing on the big picture here if we allow this legislation to pass. So I know this video wasn't giddy and happy and more of a serious tone video, and sorry for that, but I mean, this is the reality we're facing. And I wasn't just going to let this pass by and not say anything about it, because all of our voices matter, like I said at the beginning. So guys, thank you again for watching today's video. If you could do me a few favors, if you could go into the description of this video, I will have a link to usarc.org. Like I said, there is a whole bunch of different things that you guys can do. Your voices do matter. Reach out to representatives and do it politely. You know, it's when you're debating things, when you're going out and about doing these kind of things and you're fighting for your rights or trying to debate a certain thing, you don't do it with a torch and pitchfork in hand. You do it more in a civilized manner. There are ways to copy and paste a message to a representative. There are ways to properly write something to a representative in a civilized tone that really shows the reptile keepers as a whole in a positive light. And that's what we are. We really are. And that brings me along to my next thing that I want you guys to do too. We should not be bringing each other down. We should not be at each other's throats, no matter what you think of a person or anything like that. We should not be going at them consistently, bad-mouthing, anything like that for no reason whatsoever. There's literally no reason for some of these matters that people go against people. And you can have your opinions, that's totally fine, but it's not going to get any better if we're not working together. I will tell you that right now. It's just going to be a constant battle within us. It's going to be a constant battle with legislation. It's going to be a struggle, and we need to look ourselves in the mirror and we need to face that as a reality. We need to focus on helping one another within the hobby, within no matter what species anyone keeps. It's all going to be something that's beneficial for each other. So do that as well too. Also, if you could like the video, share the video across platforms, I would greatly appreciate that. Get this message out, because I can tell you guys, legislation keeps popping up throughout the states, and USARC and I understand some people are not in a position that they can donate, and that is something I understand wholeheartedly. And if that is the case, you still have power, and your power is to use your voice, to share, to reach out, to fight for the rights. And that's something that we all can do. That is something very valuable. And if you can monetarily donate, that would be great as well too. Like I said, $5 goes a long way, I'll tell you that. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, staying informed. That's all something that's truly powerful. Go to usarc.org. They're going to have a lot of more in-depth articles for you guys to learn about these topics and all these different legislations that are being sent out. So check those out as well too. And once again, thank you guys again for watching this video. I really appreciate it. I know the people at USARC appreciate it as well too. You guys do a phenomenal job, and I will stick with you guys to the end, because we are all in this together. Like I said, as a reptile community, we are all in this together. So if you could subscribe to this channel as well as hit that notification bell too, I would greatly appreciate that. And until next time, I will see you guys soon.